President Biden kicked off his second trip overseas with a visit to the Vatican. Biden and the First Lady met with Pope Francis earlier this morning. The Pope kicked things off by presenting Biden with gifts, including papal documents. Biden, who is a lifelong Catholic, talked to the Pope about religion, migration, and income inequality. Joining us now to break down what else is on Biden's agenda during the trip is our BNC Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent and co-host of The World Tonight, Nayyera Haq. Nayyera, who else is Biden expected to meet with today?
This was his fourth meeting with Pope Francis, but the first time he met with the Pope as a sitting president. And as you know, he's not only the second Catholic president in the country, but also somebody who came to that meeting with a shared commitment to poverty, a shared commitment to ending income inequality, and to climate change. It's a stark contrast to the meeting that happened between the Pope and the Pope and President Trump several years ago. His next meeting that he's just wrapping up right now is with the Prime Minister of France, Emmanuel Macron. That is the first time the United States has been meeting at the leader level since there was a spat. The French were very upset that the United States did not give them a heads up before cutting a nuclear deal with Australia, which took a significant amount of military spending dollars away from French local communities. And so this is a part of an effort to commemorate and reestablish relationships with the French. And as a reminder, the French were instrumental in supporting the United States during the Revolutionary War. And that's part of why we have the Statue of Liberty, is because the French wanted to honor that relationship. So this is hoped to be a reset with the France relationship. And after that, President Biden then goes to two massive meetings of world leaders, the G20, as well as the climate conference.
And Nayyera, talk a little bit about the G20 summit that is this weekend. What is on the agenda for leaders there?
This is going to be an interesting meeting for President Biden because he is going to be trying to establish the idea that America is back. And he has often said that foreign policy needs to work for the American middle class. And the third thing he says is that foreign policy needs to put human rights first. Unfortunately, those three things don't always work well together. At this moment, the United States is working against international law and not allowing refugees to even seek or hear asylum in the United States. That's something the Pope has also spoken out about. And the European Union is dealing with that challenge because they are seeing refugees come in from North Africa while we are seeing refugees come in from Central America. So that is something that the world is grappling with. There are about 85 million refugees around the world. But the G20 is an important meeting because they represent 80% of the world's wealth and the majority of the world's population. So what these leaders decide to do can have a massive impact on people around the world, but who is missing is also going to have an impact. China and Russia are not attending at the high level. So this is going to turn into a meeting of the world's democracies, probably talking on the sidelines about what to do about these two other autocrat and communist leaders off to the side.